Peace.
Good job. Fantastic, guys.
Thank you.
That started off our weekly Sangha show. It's been, several months now that we've been meeting on Zoom. We thought it would be nice to have a way to get together because physically it's hard to congregate with the pandemic going on. But these weekly Zoom calls have taken on a life of their own. And I, for one, would like to continue them even after the pandemic ends and we resume physically meeting. But if you're watching this on Facebook Live and you want to jump in as a participant, the meeting ID is there on Facebook, as well as the password, 801-787-1510. Password is Govinda. You don't have to be from Salt Lake City to join us. We'd relish your participation. Otherwise, if not, just watch it on Facebook Live. We started with the Kirtan by the Sharma family, and we also have a report, isn't it, coming up from Kapilji. Kapil, how come you weren't sitting in on the kirtan? It was
No,
only
I was
three
not in
quarters of. How come you didn't lend your nightingale voice to the rest of the members of your family?
way back room.
Huh? Saving the best for last, huh? So we're going to go to the Shea Sharma and hear a report on Sri Balaramaji. Sri Balaramaji is Krishna's older brother. He is also the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And you're going to find out all those things that you didn't know about Balaram and you weren't sure who to ask right now on our weekly Sangha Krishna live show. Take it away, Kapil and Sons.
Before I start, I'd like to thank everyone for giving me this opportunity of glorifying Sri Balaram prior to his birthday. And there's very few people in this world that believe God, right? That God is, like in the existence of God. Out of that, there's very few people that believe God is a physical person. But we are the only people that are people in ISKCON. We're the only people that believe that Krishna has an older brother who even has a birthday. So that's so that's today's that's why today's such a holy day, and today's significance is because it is Balaram's birthday. There's 4 things I'd like to cover today. The first one is Balaram's strength. The second one is how Balaram is the original spiritual master. The third one is Balaram's service attitude. And the fourth one is Balaram's sweet pastimes. So those are the 4 S's we'll be covering today. So in his strength, we believe, in the Bhagavatam, it is written that Balaram is the source of all spiritual strength. And the reason we believe that it's Balaram is because in the form of Ananta Shesha, he holds all of the universes. Every single universe is held on Ananta Shesha. But the special thing about it is that even though he's holding all these universes, he's not standing on anything, right? There's no ground underneath him. So he's holding it and there's nothing underneath him. So that's why it's known as why he's so strong. A story is of how Dhenukasur and how there's the Talavan forest in Vrindavan, which is one of the 12 forests, and it holds tal trees, which are like palm trees, except they bear tal fruits. And these trees can't be found anywhere in the world but the Talavan forest. So Krishna and his associates would love going there and enjoying the tal fruits. Except then came Dhenukasur, the donkey demon, with his donkey associates. And they inhabited the Talavan forest. And anyone that would come there, they would terrorize them and make it so that no one could come in the Talavan forest anymore. So, Krishna's associates go up to him and Balaram and say, can you please kindly go and get us some fruits? And if those donkey demons, if they trouble you, please kindly kill them. Because, by that time, Balaram and Krishna had killed so many demons that for his associates, it just became oh yeah, demons, go ahead, kill them. So and they go there, Krishna and Balaram. And immediately, Dhenukasur, when he sees, people coming into his forest and taking his fruits, and because, he was so egotistical, he says, no, I am the Lord of this forest. How dare you enter without my permission? So he and his associates attack, the cowherd boys. And since it was a donkey and donkeys attack with their hind legs, so Dhenukasur gets there, turns around and attacks with his hind legs on Balaram's chest, which for Balaram was, throwing a flower on his chest, right? He didn't feel anything. But so when he attacks, Balaram doesn't move, but he grabs the hind legs of Dhenukasur and turns him around, and he wheels him with such centrifugal force that he just dies in the air, and then he gets thrown into the tallest tree inside the Talavan forest. And because of how heavy it was, it starts knocking down all the other fruits and trees in the other of the other trees. And so, and like left and right, Balaram and Krishna started killing all these demons. But Dehinakasura was specifically, killed by Balaram. So that is his, and the reason it's so important for us to glorify him on this day is so that he can give us spiritual strength to move on in our lives, right? Or to move towards Krishna, because he is also the spiritual master, the original spiritual master of everyone, which is the second point. The Sat Chit Ananda. It is said that Ananda, so Sat, existence is embodied by Krishna. Chit, the consciousness, is embodied by Balaram, and Ananda, the pleasure, is embodied by Srimati Radha. So the Chit potency of the spiritual master is carried through Balaram. So there's a lot of news, especially in India, of how there's fake gurus, right? Of how these there's movies, oh my God, PK, or others. But the thing is that if in the Bhagavatam, it is said that anyone can just wake up and be like, today I am the guru. I'm a guru today. I can't just read an article and I'm like, hey, now I'm a guru. It doesn't work that way. There's 4 sampradayas, and these are traditions, right? Schools of thoughts. And only if you are part of one of these 4 sampradayas, and obviously there's other requirements, but only if you're a part of these, you can be, the spiritual master. And so that chit potency of being a spiritual master is given to you through Balaram. Other ways people can get this chit potency is through we have Rasilas Prabhu here, who has this wonderful talent of cooking, and he cooks for Krishna. That talent is also given through Balaram. There's Matajis who make the garlands. That talent of making the garland, that's also given through Balaram. And Kirtan, when we play these musical instruments, that talent of playing the musical instrument, that's also given through Balaram. So the reason we get these potencies is so that we can serve Krishna, because Balaram is the server of Krishna. He is the constant companion of Krishna. So the story goes of how there was there's the 8 children of Rohini, and so those 8 of Devaki, and those 8 children, the first 6 are killed off by Kamsa, but the 7th child is sent over to Rohini, so that and so is the 8th child, so that they can be protected away from Kamsa, so they can come free Devaki and Vasudev from Kamsa's reign. So and it's teleportation. We don't have this kind of technology today, but then they did in the times back then. So this so the way that they had to be named was, so Vasudev sent Garga Muni so that he could name them secretly, and that they wouldn't have a party, because Kamsa was looking for 2 children, right? That were that age, and if the word spread of that Rohini had another child, then they couldn't. Then Kamsa would come find them. So that's why it had to be a secret naming. So during the secret naming, Garga Muni gave Balaram 3 names. So the shlok, which is 10.8.12, the translation goes: this child, the son of Rohini, will give all happiness to his relatives and friends by his transcendental qualities. Therefore, he will be known as Rama. Rama was because he is, he carries these transcendental qualities of Ram. And so, he will bring happiness and joy into all the relatives. The second name was because he will manifest extraordinary bodily strength, he will be known as Bala. That is why we pray to Balaram for our for strength, right? If we need protection in our lives, and we also pray to him for the strength of the temptations of Maya, to reject those temptations with the strength of Balaram. And moreover, because he unites the 2 families, the families of Vasudeva and the families of Nanda Maharaj, he will be known as Sankarshana, because so the uniter of these 2 families. So he is always, next to Krishna. He's always, because he's the first plenary expansion of Krishna. And then from Balaram, comes the other, Mahavishnus and the other Vishnus. But the first expansion of Krishna is Balaram. And Balaram always assists Krishna in his pastimes, both in the material and the spiritual world. And Balaram expands into the seat Krishna sits on. Balaram expands into the footwear Krishna wears. And so that is why he's known as a constant companion of Krishna. For example, in the spiritual world, Golok Vrindavan, Krishna and Balaram are always together, performing all kinds of pastimes with their cowherd boyfriends. And in the material world, Krishna appears as Krishna, Balaram also appears as Balaram. When Krishna appears as Ram, Balaram appears as Lakshman. When Krishna appears as Mahavishnu or any other form of Vishnu, Balaram appears as Sheshnan. When Krishna appears as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Balaram appears as Nityananda, and so forth. So that is a service attitude of Balaram. And so if you want, to get this service attitude, we must pray to Balaram. And so that is why today is known as a very important day in the Vaishnava calendar. The fourth one, the fourth thing I wanted to discuss was the sweet pastimes of Balaram. Because Balaram, even though Krishna cannot perform pastimes without having Balaram involved, Balaram also performs his own independent pastimes from Krishna. Like Nityananda had his own Sankirtan pastimes with his own associates. Another story is of how when Krishna and Balaram were in Mathura, Balaram went to pacify the inhabitants of Vrindavan because everyone was missing Krishna, and the inhabitants of Vrindavan had lost a part of themselves. So that's why Balaram went to pacify those residents. And so he performed a rasa dance with the gopis so that the gopis wouldn't miss Krishna. He went to Nanda and Nanda Maharaj and Yashoda to pretend like Krishna was there. Balaram also killed many demons like Dhenukasura, Vivida, Brahmasura, etc. And so that is those are the sweet pastimes of Balaram. He independently performed those. So the reason it is so important for us to glorify Balaram, and the reason it's so important for us to do this is because he gives us all these. He provides us with three things. The first one is that he provides us with knowledge, because like I said above or before, he is the the first spiritual master. He's a carrier of the transcendental knowledge. So for us to gain knowledge, we must pray to Balaram. That's the first thing. The second thing is for protection. We pray to Balaram so that he can protect us, not only from everyday things, but also from Maya's temptations. So those protections you can get from Balaram. The third thing is spiritual bliss, which is Ramana. So the highest spiritual bliss is also given to us by Balaram because he's the first expansion of Krishna. So that is why it is so important for us to glorify Balaram. And that is why I'd like to thank everyone for granting me this opportunity. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So, Ishan, you're saying that when we have talents and abilities, musical talents, cooking talents, making flower garlands, dancing, that those talents and abilities come from Balaram, is that right?
Yes, Prabhu.
And what is the, I forgot who you said embodied the Sat potency.
So the Sat was Krishna, the Chit was Balaram, and Ananda was Radha.
Does anybody have questions to give Ishan after this really, really extensive, comprehensive report? The actual appearance day of Balaram is going to be on the 3rd. We're just getting warmed up for it. We're getting our minds all in eager anticipation. And there will be a celebration in the Salt Lake City Temple on the evening of the 3rd, which is going to be a week from Monday. So put that on your calendar and come by and get the darshan of the devotees. And Krishna will be worshipped there.
Ishan Bhaiya, I really liked your report. It was very interesting.
Subi,
Yes,
you have
very
a question?
good. Very good job, Ishan.
Thank you.
Do you have any questions?
No, I don't have any question.
That's fine.
Ishan, very nice presentation. Wonderful job. Just one comment you mentioned about service attitude, right? So in the form of, Lakshman, right? Lord Lakshman is also incarnation, expansion of Lord Balaram. And then we all know that what kind of service attitude he had, right? He set an example, and it's very difficult to even parallel his service attitude. He did not sleep for 14 years, and he was just residing outside. He did not have his own cottage, right? And so that's one of the very good example of service attitude of Lord Balaram.
In all the other incarnations, Balaram is known as the older brother. Nityananda is older, Balaram's older. Why, as Lakshman, is he appearing as younger than his brother Rama? Anybody know?
Yeah, because he wanted to serve the Lord.
That's the answer I know. That he as an older brother, he's always getting respect from his younger brother, Krishna, or Lord Chaitanya, Gora. He's always getting respect. So he wanted to take one incarnation as the younger brother, so he could, instead of being bowed down to, he could be the bower instead of the bow-e.
Yeah. I heard that since like Ram was one of the first or like the first incarnation, or one of the first incarnations. So like Lakshman appeared as his younger, but then Sheshnath wanted to also feel the respect that he gave to Krishna. So that's why in the next he said, okay, no, I want to be your older brother this time. So that's why he came as a Balaram, so that Krishna could.
Interesting. Ras Vilas, Srila Rupa Goswami, Ki Jai.
Can you allow me to share screen?
That would be great. Do we get to pull a little tab and make it equal also?
Yeah, let us see if I can share. So you have to allow me to share screen, the bottom of your.
Right. All right. Is it enabled? Yeah, multiple. Okay, it should be coming on for you now.
Yeah, it is there now. Okay.
Okay, everybody, there's a little tab. If you want to grab that tab and pull it to the left, you can make Ras Vilas equally big as the slide shows. I think that's good because it's good to see the facial expressions of the presenter as well as the slides.
Hey, Hare Krishna, everybody. Thanks to Charu Prabhu for this opportunity. It is very, very difficult to talk about Srila Rupa Goswami because you need qualification even to think about him. And I don't think so. I'm even close. And you can spend hours and days and weeks and years even talking about his pastimes. So his disappearance day is coming pretty soon. And Srila Rupa Goswami is also known as Rupa Manjari. Manjari is Tulsi's seeds when they grow. And Manjari was one of the gopis in Sri Krishna's Leelas. And she was just next to Lalita and Visakhasagi. So you can imagine how important Rupa Manjari was in Sri Krishna Leela. So just a little bit background about Rupa Goswami. It's considered the foremost associate of Sachidananda Gaurahari, which is Lord Gauranga. And all the previous Gaudiya Vaishnava Acharyas have accepted Srila Rupa Goswami as their Shiksha Guru. And being in line of disciplic succession, we are also known as Rupanugas. And it is said that without taking shelter of Srila Rupa Goswami, one cannot enter into the pastime of Lord Chaitanya. So he's the gateway to entering Lord Gauranga's Leela and his pastime. So I searched a little bit, and we can go as far as 7 lineages of Sri Rupa Goswami. I started with Sarvajana, titled Jagadguru. He was in Karnataka. So originally Rupa Goswami hails from Karnataka, their ancestors. And then his son Aniruddha was acclaimed scholar. And then he was a king, Aniruddha. Then when he was about to die, he divided his kingdom to his 2 sons, Rupeshwara and Harihara. Harihara was good in weaponry and politics, and then Rupeshwara was expert in Vedic knowledge. So later on, Harihara, he just seized Rupeshwara's land, forced him to migrate to Porasta Desha, and then so Rupeshwara migrated to there, and then he has a son Padmanabha, and who was also very spiritually advanced. And from him was 18 daughters and 5 sons. Of those 5 sons, the youngest was Mukunda, and from Mukunda Kumar Deva, and then Mukunda moved to Jaisal, and that's where Sri Rupa Goswami was born, in Jaisal in 1489. His material name was Rupa Santosh, sorry, and then he has 2 other brothers, Sanatana, we know his name was Amara, and Sriralabha, his name was Anupam. So it is very difficult to separate stories of Srila Rupa Goswami and Sri Sanatan Goswami, because it's parallel, and then they evolved as excellent spiritual gurus and scholars together. So Srila Rupa Goswami was devotional from childhood, very, very intelligent. A lot of people used to visit his house regularly, and 2 brothers used to serve visitors always, and they always remember Vrindavan. They always wanted to go to Vrindavan. And then from the early childhood, Rupa Goswami and Anupa were very devotionally inclined, thinking of the wonderful land of Vrindavan. And then they were always planting these Vrindavan trees like Kadamba, Tulsi in their backyard. And then they also dug 2 lakes in their garden, naming them Radha Kunda and Sham Kunda, and they used to worship Radha Madan Mohan as their deities. So let's see. From childhood, they were very intelligent, and then of course the news about their intelligence reached then Nawab Hussain of Goda village, Goda area or district, you can call. There used to be like the small Nawabs in small districts. So the news reached to them. So he wanted to employ, and because he needed intelligent people to run his kingdom. So he offered the job of 2 ministers to them. Rupa Goswami and Sanatan Goswami were very much not inclined towards accepting this job, but because out of fear from this Yavana, they accepted this job. And then at that time, generally Hindus were not allowed to work, so they had to change their name. So Nawab Hussain forced them to change their name, and they became Dabir Khas, which is Rupa Goswami, and Sakira Malik, which is Sanatan Goswami. So then what happened? They heard about Lord Gauranga's sannyas, and then he moved to Jagannath Puri after taking sannyas, and they were devastated by hearing that news, and then they in fact fell on floor unconscious. But then Lord Gauranga came into their dream and told them that be patient, you will be meeting me very soon. And then they were overwhelmed with a lot of joy. So these are some of the verses from Chaitanya Charitamrita. Dabira khasare raja puchale nirbate gosare mahima thake galagile kahite. So king inquired. So the story goes like that. They were very eager to meet, and then eventually Lord Gauranga from Jagannath Puri, he wanted to visit Gowda village, and then he also wanted to visit his mother Sachi. So he planned to visit Gowda, and he eventually arrived in Ramakeli. And hearing this news, both brothers, Rupa Goswami and Sanatana Goswami, were very overwhelmed with joy and happiness. But the Hussain, Nawab Hussain, was little worried because Lord Gauranga with Nityananda came dancing and doing some kirtan. And a lot of people went there to watch them. They in fact joined him in the kirtan. Nawab Hussain was little worried because he saw a lot of followers without any fear, because and this is where the difference is in the attitude, right? People were following Nawab Hussain out of fear, but people in this case were following Lord Gauranga out of love and affection and the Sankirtan. So Nawab Hussain inquired from Kesava Chatri, is one of close associates, about Lord Gauranga because he was kind of scared. And Kesava Chatri said, no, you don't have to worry about them. They're just petty sannyasi. They're just doing some kirtan. And then eventually he also inquired from the Bira caste, which Rupa Goswami. And Rupa Goswami diplomatically pacified Nawab Hussain, saying, you don't have to worry about, he is an accomplished soul, and you are making so much progress in your kingdom because of his mercy. So Nawab Hussain bought that idea, and that he did not further bother Lord Gauranga. And then Ghare Asi Doi Bhai Yukti Korina. Yukti is Bengali way. Yukti means planning. Korina means to do. Doi Bhai, both brothers. Prabhu Dekhi Bare, to see Lord Chale Vesa Lukhana. Lukhana means, secretly. Secretly, both brothers decided to meet the Lord. Doi Gucha Torna Tune Dasane Dhorina Gole Vastra Bandi Pode Dandavata Honand. Vastra Bandi means, they put cloth around their neck, and Dandavat means just fell straight, taking a straw in their mouth. They just fell straight. First they met with Lord Nityananda, and then they just fell straight on ground like an iron rod to offer their obeisances. Right there in Ramakeli, Lord changed their name to Rupa and Sanatana Goswami. So after they met first time, Lord Gauranga in the village of Ramakeli, they requested Lord that, okay, we want to come with you. And Lord said, be patient. The time will come, Lord Krishna will shower his mercy upon you. You just go and do your job. So then they went back, they did their job. And eventually Lord moved to, he was in Jagannath Puri. So eventually Sri Rupa Goswami left Vrindavan, and then he came to know the Lord has left Jagannath Puri. So he also notified Sanatana and gave him his gold coins. So Rupa Goswami finally reached Prayaga. He took his brother Anupama with him. And then while reaching Prayag, he met the Lord there. While Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was sitting in a solitary place in the home of Deccan Brahmana Rupa Goswami and Sri Vallabha, Anupama came to meet him. Mahaprabhu welcomed both brothers and inquired about Sanatana Goswami. And that time, in the meantime, Sanatana Goswami did not, he was not going to the king's service and then making it up that he is sick. But then Nawab Hussain sent he visited himself, and then he found that he in fact is not sick. And he was busy in reading Srimati Bhagavatam. So Sanatana Goswami, when refused to serve him any further, he put him in the jail. So Rupa Goswami was very much worried, and he requested Mahaprabhu that Mahaprabhu, please deliver him. And then Mahaprabhu just sitting right there, he said, "Oh, he's already delivered. He already, came out of jail, and soon he will be meeting me." And then another great Acharya, Vallabhacharya, was great Vaishnava, was on the other side of Ganges, and he invited Mahaprabhu and for prasadam. Rupa Goswami and Upam Goswami, they accompanied him, and then when they accompanied him, Vallabhacharya wanted to serve them, but then both brothers, they ran away from him, and then they shouted, "Please don't touch us. We are fallen soul. Please don't touch us." And then Lord Chaitanya, he understood and he explained. He said, "Don't touch them. They are very accomplished people." So it kind of he made his point to Vallabhacharya that they indeed are accomplished people. And then Vallabhacharya glorified Rupa Goswami and Anupam, his brother there. Sri Rupa Goswami is meeting with Lord at the Samamega Ghata. This is the pinnacle climax of the whole devotional service, the devotional transcendental pastime of Rupa Goswami, when he eventually met Lord Gauranga in the Samamega Ghata, which is in Prayag. And it was there where Lord instructed Rupa Goswami for 10 consecutive days and empowered him to understand the philosophy of devotional service. And Lord stated that the ocean of transcendental mallows of devotional service is so big that no one can estimate its length and breadth. So Lord mentioned to him that I'm just giving you a drop of mercy of ocean. But this is not the end. What you have to do is you have to take it forward. You have to learn. You have to do. I'm just giving you just a glimpse of what I can give you in 10 days. And he mentioned that out of many millions of wise men to Rupa Goswami, one may actually become liberated, and out of many millions of such liberated persons. Liberation doesn't mean that you go back to some planet. Liberation here, Lord mentioned about getting into Krishna consciousness and devotion service, and then getting detachment from material entanglement. That's what he meant about liberation. And out of such liberated person, a pure devotee of Krishna is very difficult to find. So after giving so much instructions to Rupa Goswami, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu advised Rupa Goswami to go to Vrindavan, and the Lord then departed for Varanasi. Then a journey to Nillacala, Sri Jagannath Puri Dham. From there they started writing drama about Krishna, and while walking reached Satyabhamapura village, Satyabhamapura, and he was writing drama about Krishna's pastime and bringing Krishna out of Vrindavan. And then Satyabhama, one of queens of Krishna, she appeared in his dream, say, why don't you write about me? You have to write about me, write a separate drama. And then eventually he met Lord in Jagannath Puri, where Rupa Goswami was living with Haridas Thakur. Lord mentioned to Rupa as not to take Krishna out of Vrindavan. And then he remembered Queen Satyabhama coming in his dream, and then Lord Gauranga also mentioning him same thing, that okay, don't take Krishna out of Vrindavan. He kind of correlated those two stories, Satyabhama and then Lord, and he realized that Lord Gauranga is none other than different than Krishna. And on one time, Lord Gauranga was babbling one verse which only Rupa Goswami could understand. Rupa Goswami composed another verse revealing the Lord's mind. And then when Lord read that verse, he praised Rupa Goswami, and then he further gave him his blessings to excel his devotional service. Lord eventually ordered Rupa Goswami to leave for Vrindavan to find out Krishna's Leela places. These were like 2-3 instructions Lord gave to Rupa Goswami, and then write books and preach. So Rupa Goswami put his Lord's feet on his head and left for Vrindavan. So some lovely pastimes, Sri Radha Govinda Deity, how we find this is another lovely pastime of Sri Rupa Goswami. He was sitting under Kadamba tree in Vrindavan, and then he was very sad and frustrated because he was thinking that he could not fulfill Lord Gauranga's order of finding out Krishna's Leela places. And then a small Brijavasi came to him, and then he mentioned, inquired about why he's frustrated, why he's very sad. So Rupa Goswami told him the reason, and then the Vraja Vasi asked him to follow him, and he took him to the Tila there, Gotila, and there he said, okay, this is where you will find Govinda, Sri Govinda deity. And then Rupa Goswami was very excited and very overwhelmed with joy. And then he went to nearby villages, and then he brought many cowherd boys and Brajvasi. They started digging, and they found the beautiful, beautiful deity of Sri Govinda. And then all the rituals were performed there. Big feast. All Brajvasi, all villages participated in that big festival. So manifestation of Sri Vrnda Devi. So Rupa Goswami began to meditate upon Sri Vrnda Devi, and Vrnda Devi eventually appeared near Brahma Kund, and then that's where Tulsi Vrnda Devi came into Vrindavan to shower mercy upon all of us. One other pastime short, we discussed that when we were talking about Sanatana Goswami, and he was sitting under Kadamba tree working on his scriptures, working on his book, and he just thought about cooking sweet rice for Sanatana Goswami, his brother, but he didn't have ingredients. And then a small girl appeared, in front of him, and then with all the ingredients, and she offered to cook sweet rice for him. And then when she cooked, Sri Rupa Goswami, requested her to wait until his brother comes, and then small girl said, no, she has other works, she has to leave. And then when she left, since Sanatana Goswami came and he offered sweet rice to him, and it was of course so delicious, and he inquired from Rupa Goswami who cooked it, and Sri Rupa Goswami mentioned all the story, and then both brothers were in tears, and then of course he also told to Rupa Goswami that you should not take service from Sri Radha Rani, but he took this unknowingly. But how exalted both brothers were, how exalted he was. Can you believe, that he just Srimati Radharani herself came to fulfill his desire of sweet rice. That was not even like any material thing he wanted. He wanted just for his brother. So the affection, last slide is their affection for inhabitants of Vraja. Both brothers really took care of Brajvasi. They used to visit villages on daily basis, make sure not everybody is sick, and then they also knew that each name and how old each Brajbasi and their kids are. They had all the information about Brajbasi, and how many cows and bullocks they possessed, how the crops were developed. They took care, they knew everything. And in many days past, without a visit from the Goswamis, the Brajbasi would anxiously seek them out. Just the Brajbasi were the life of Sri Rupa Goswami and Sanatan, and Sri Rupa Goswami and Sanatan were the lives of Brajbasi. So Sri Rupa Goswami's life, I think these are many books he wrote. Of course, the Upadeshamrita, Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, Padyavali, these are some of the top books we know, but all books are transcendental, and then we should read those. I have many more things, as I said, that could be years and months. We can keep talking about Srila Rupa Goswami. So I will stop here. Thank you so much, and Hare Krishna.
Jai ho, Haribo. Anybody have some questions for Ras Vilas?
Very comprehensive report. Thank you so much.
I heard that Rupa Goswami wrote 100 verses about Lord Chaitanya, but all but one or two were lost. Is that true?
Yes, Prabhu. And I don't know where those are, though, where we can find, but he used to write, and
one of them is the Vairaga Vidya Nija Bhakti Yogena Shiksartameka Parishana Shikrish. That's one of them. I think they were rolled up in the roof or something, isn't it? And when Lord Chaitanya visited him one time, he said, "What are these?" And he rolled out the 2 verses and went into ecstasy.
Yeah, and then Saru Damodar Prabhu, he glorified Rupa Goswami, and then he said that it is only possible, he could do it because of your mercy. And he was not showing, the kind of hanging, as you said, rolled out from the roof, and then Lord saw one of them, because he was writing on leaves and the leaf was hanging. He took out and then asked Rupa Goswami to read the verses for him.
What was the other verse? Namo Mahabharanaya, was that the other verse?
Yeah.
So those were the 2. Okay.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, very extensive and very beautiful report, as tasty as your cooking.
So we're gonna this is on Facebook Live, and afterwards I can also down this on YouTube. I don't know why we're having an echo. So these wonderful reports. Is that me that's causing that echo? I think
Yes.
Why is it? And anyway, there'll be a permanent record of all these reports on our YouTube channel. So if you ever want to refer a friend to it or recall it yourself, just go to our YouTube channel. It'll be there. And also, hopefully, keep those slides. There may be occasions when we're meeting again, when we resume our meetings, when we can present these to the devotees live in the temple itself. These are very valuable resources. And once having taken the trouble to put a talk together, a slideshow, you've got it in the can, so to speak. So you can always bring it out in the future. You've done the heavy-duty work to put it together, and you never have to do that again. And you'll always have the fruit of your work to bring out whenever the occasion would demand or the opportunity would come up. Anybody want to say anything more to Ras Vilas or Ishan, for that matter, about his report?
Thank you, Ras Vilas Prabhu, and thank you, Ishan. Very extensive, wonderful. I love the slides. They were such beautiful pictures. So thank you for enlightening us. And Ishan was, as always, you can make out that he's so well grounded and he's learning at the right age at the right time. So thank you, Prabhuji, for enlightening us.
We hope everybody will become a great preacher. You don't have to wait. You don't have to wait for a great preacher to come to town, although that's always good. We always welcome the great traveling itinerant preachers.
This morning there was a presentation I could not attend, but it was on evolution, Darwin's theory, and so the poster showed monkey, and then in between stages, and then human being, and then the poster had arrow on monkey, said there are millions of these, and the poster has arrow on human, there are billions of these, but in between, where are these? None of them exist, right? I mean, if we came by evolution, then at least one of them should exist, right? But none of them exist, only monkey and human, right?
They fell through the cracks.
What are you following this? Whoa. Are you following the science?
I don't know where that echo's coming from. Okay, Rakesh, do you have the verse in front of you? Do you happen to have the verse in front of you?
Yes, Prabhuji. Are we reading verse 12?
Yeah.
Yes.
Why don't you read it and give us your comments, and and everybody else can think about something to say on this verse. 12th verse, first chapter, first canto.
Sure, Prabhuji. Tachradhana munayo jnana vairagya yuktaya pashyantya atmani chatmanam bhaktya shrutgritaya.
Is this 1112, Prabhu?
That's the 12th one. 1.1.12.
12. 1112.
Yes, Prabhuji.
No.
Translation. Oh, sorry.
Sut janasi bhadram te bhagwan satvatam pati.
So did I read?
Are you at the right verse? That's what we are saying.
Oh, okay. Oh, sorry. Yeah, I was at the wrong chapter. My bad. Sorry. Let me.
Advance can be at any verse, but we want to be on 11.12.
Jai Ho. Okay, so Suta janasi bhadram te bhagwan satvatam patiha devakyam vasudevasya jato yasya chikirshaya. translation. You want to read the translation? Yeah. Okay.
All blessings upon you, O Sud Goswami. You know for what purpose the personality of Godhead appeared in the womb of Devaki as the son of Vasudeva.
Prabhuji, should I read the purport as well?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay. Bhagwan means the Almighty God, who is the controller of all opulences, power, fame, beauty, knowledge, and renunciation. He is the protector of his pure devotees. Although God is equally disposed to everyone, he is especially inclined to his devotees. Sat means the absolute truth, and persons who are servitors of the absolute truth are called Sattvatas. And the personality of Godhead who protects such pure devotees is known as the protector of the Sattvatas. Bhadram Te, or the blessings upon you, indicates the sage's anxiety to know the absolute truth from the speaker. Lord Shri Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, appeared to Devaki, the wife of Vasudeva. Vasudeva is the symbol of transcendental position wherein the appearance of the Supreme Lord takes place. So, in this verse, Prabhuji, it says that Lord Shri Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and it also says that he will do anything to protect his devotees. So last week when we were discussing about Krishna, Arjuna, Karna, and other characters from Mahabharata, so for this verse also I want to take a step back and relate it with the same discussion that we were having last week, that how Lord Shri Krishna saved his devotee Parikshit Maharaj, who then went on to become the great emperor and took the age of the Kali, and Kali could not do anything till the Maharaj Parikshita was still alive. And because of Maharaj Parikshita's when he came to know that he only has 7 days to live, so the Srimad Bhagavatam that we are reading, it's because of the blessing, because Maharaj Parikshita wanted to hear it from the sages, and that's the whole reason why we are able to read it today. So that's one of the example that we can see that how Shri Krishna saved Maharaj Parikshita when he was in the womb of his mother, and son of Drona shot an arrow he tried to kill Maharaj Parikshit in the womb. And one more, can you please let me sit? I want to sit here. Sorry, you can bring this chair. So one another example that I want to share is because we were discussing Mahabharata last week, is about the son. We all know Ghatotkacha, the son of Bhima, how he came in to help the Pandavas, but not many know about the son of Ghatotkacha. He was also part of Mahabharata, though there is not mention, or at least if we see on the TV, we will not see him fighting. So I'm forgetting his name. Can anybody help me with the name? Please. Okay. I hope I'll be able to recall his name, or maybe somebody else after hearing the story. But basically, that son of Ghatotkacha, he had this power that if he want to fight, then just by shooting one arrow, he can kill not just the enemy, but the whole dynasty of that person. He can kill everybody. And when he heard about this world war, Mahabharata, that was going on, so he took a vow that he would come and help whoever is the losing party. So he was not saying that I'll be fighting for Pandavas or I'll be fighting for Kauravas. He said that I'll be
Barbaric.
Yes, barbaric. So Barbaric took this vow that he will fight for the losing party. And when Lord Shri Krishna came to know about it, he got very tense that because with his vow, he would eventually end up killing everybody and there won't be anybody alive. Because one day he'll fight for Pandavas because Kauravas had bigger army. So he will come and fight from the Pandava side and kill many of the Kauravas. And the next day, Kauravas will become weak. So he will go and start fighting from the side of the Kauravas. And then he will start killing Pandavas. So because Lord Shri Krishna, he wanted to protect Dharma and he wanted to protect his devotees. So he did not even tell anyone. And he stopped Barbaric in his way when he was coming to take part in this Mahabharata fight. And he ended up killing Barbaric by his Sudarshan Chakra. Then Barbaric asked for a boon that I still want to see this fight. So then his head was still there on a tree, and he actually saw the whole Mahabharata fight. And when Pandavas were lamenting that, oh, we killed so many, and Krishna said, okay. Then Krishna told about Barbaric, and he took Pandavas to Barbaric and asked, Barbaric, can you tell what you saw? And then Barbaric said that I did not see any Kauravas or Pandavas fighting. The only thing that I see was Krishna. Krishna was everywhere, and his Sudarshan Chakra was killing everyone. I did not see arrows from Karna or Arjuna. It was just Sudarshan Chakra killing all the bad guys. So the point is that Lord, if he wants to say, he always is there to serve his devotees, and even the devotees may not even be aware that how much mercy the Lord is giving behind the scene. We will never know that, just like how Pandavas were not even aware that Barbaric was going to defeat them or kill most of them, but Lord went himself to help his devotees and protected them by killing him without even like telling them, or they were not even aware. So that's what I understand from this verse, that if we have one thing, it again reiterates that Krishna is the supreme Lord. There is no doubt about it. Sarv dharman paritajya mamekam sharanam vraja. So if we can just have this belief that Lord Krishna is the supreme Lord, and we give up everything else and just surrender unto him, he will be there, and he will make sure that everything falls in the right place. Even though we may not think that this is good for us at this point of time, but later on we will understand that whatever is happening for good, and it probably is the best decision for our favor. So that's what I understand from this verse, Prabhuji. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Hari Bo. Thanks. Thanks for that story. There are so many reasons why the Lord appears. You could dedicate a section on each reason and go on for months and months. But in general, what are the two reasons why the Lord appears in the Bhagavad Gita, as stated in the 4th chapter?
To protect his devotees and to establish dharma.
Yep, exactly. To reestablish.
Yes, Prabhuji. Jai.
Yada and Paritranaya Saranam. To protect the devotees and to reestablish the principles of religion. And Prabhupada says that the demons are going to die anyway, because they like to kill each other. They're boastful, they're prideful, and they don't bend, they don't compromise. So demons always end up killing each other. So Krishna doesn't really have to come down to kill the demons, but the reason he comes down is to relish association with the devotees.
And reminding about their position also, right? Because we all forgot. Even the devotees, they forgot. Otherwise, by birth you are devotee, right? And then we realize our constitution, and then we start remembering him, and then he comes and he takes us with him.
Ankar, you've been silent so far. Tell us something.
Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam.
Dandavat Pranam.
Think about this verse, and I thought that the Shaunaka Rishi who is asking the questions is with 88,000 sages, and he is saying that, O Srila Goswami, all blessings upon you. You know for what purpose the personality of Godhead appeared in the womb of Devaki as the son of Vasudeva. I was thinking they were already on the level that they were knowing that Lord Krishna is the supreme person, and for what reasons he appeared in the womb. So I was thinking about ourselves, like people in this age are not at that level. They even don't know that the Krishna is supreme personality of Godhead, or even there is a God, something like that. So I was thinking about the exalted level of the Shaunaka Rishi and the questions, the kind of question he was asking. So this was the thing. And also the purport mentions that Krishna is the protector of his pure devotees, and although he is equal to everyone, he is specially inclined to his devotees. And I'm remembering one verse from yesterday's your class. You told that ye bhajanti tu mam bhaktya mai te teshu chapyam. So this also Lord Krishna confirms in Bhagavad Gita. So these 2 points I was thinking about.
Yes, Onkar and Rakesh both basically samahams name dveshastina. I'm equal. Krishna doesn't take sides. He's not favored to any party. But someone who renders service to me, I am a friend in them and they are a friend in me. This is the special category of those who do direct service to the Lord. They get distinguished from the crowd and they become friends of the Lord. The Lord knows their name. The Lord is aware of everything that they're going through in life. They're not alone. They're not orphaned. They have the Lord as their overseer and permitter at all times. Any other input on this subject? Or
Yeah, I like the point. I think the verse starts with Bhagwan, like re-establishing who Bhagwan is. There are thousands of definitions. There are 10,000 of videos that people go and see. And even after that, people takes lives after lives. They are not able to understand who Bhagwan is. Prabhupada has made it so easy that the simple definition is Krishna. You just need to know one word. And in this verse, in purport, Prabhupada says that Bhagwan is who has all these 6 opulences, right? Shad, we say that he is the source of all these 6 things. But I think the most important part is the renunciation. Like we have seen people in this life, our friends, family members, colleagues. If you possess one of these, that too in a very limited quantity, we can see that they are always on this 7th cloud. Bhagwan, he is the source of all those. Forget about the quantity. He is the one where all these opulences come from. But I think the part is, even after having all that, he renounced everything. So this piece, as you mentioned about yada yada hi dharmasya paritranaya sadhunam, I think devotees, one, we need to know that who Bhagwan is, which is very simple for us to know. It's a very simple definition that Prabhupada has explained to us. The second thing is also, Charu, years ago in one of your lectures, and then we took message out of that lecture and created a full lecture on that topic. In one of the lectures, you mentioned about my problems are not bigger than my God. So it talks about that protection. In the purport, it says that although God is equally disposed to everyone, he is especially inclined to his devotees. And then also there is this concept of blessing, that my devotee will never perish. So as Omkar Prabhu mentioned, that these are also realized souls. The people who are asking these questions, they know who Krishna is and who God is. But even after that, they say that, okay, you are more blessed to talk about this. And it also somehow talk about, like when we are in discourse like this or discussions like this, there is always something that one can pick. So it talks about that submissive nature, that with all submission, they are saying that you are blessed to tell us why did he appeared. So that was my understanding, showing that respect, showing that submission, if you really want to understand. In the 10th chapter, we say, okay, these are the 4 main verses of Bhagavad Gita. One of that verse is to have the curiosity, submission, and patience to hear about who Krishna is and why did he appear.
So we're sometimes you wonder why is it among all the people in the planet and all the people in Utah and all the people in Salt Lake City, why is it that we're sitting here on Sunday mornings, just 10 or 12 families discussing Krishna. What did we do? What did we do to get this honor, this qualification? Anyone have any thoughts on that? Kamo, you're always saying that you learn so much from these conversations, but you impress me as someone who is very learned, very realized yourself, and I think it's just in your humility that you talk about learning. I think you have a lot to teach. So any thoughts on this subject? Why us? Why such a relishable subject matter, so elevating, the promise of purposefulness, meaning, joy, peace, and eternal life. Why just these us few in Salt Lake City? Why us?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. I think that's I don't have words to express. That's very nice of you to think of me like that, because I am very much low. I hardly know anything.
Maybe that's the answer. Maybe you just gave the answer.
I'm really trying, but I was actually going to say I'm like one of those people in the few verses before. There was something where we read that the people of Kali Yuga are lazy and they don't prioritize things. I think I'm falling in that category, but I'm trying to push myself to be a better person and put my priorities right. But I think for what I feel is that one, we are very fortunate that we have been even been blessed that we are a part of something like this, where we've been given the opportunity, and we are coming here and trying to discuss about this. But I think one of the other reasons, and this is my thought, I'm not sure about how right or wrong this is, but maybe in our previous, so we have this concept of rebirth and reincarnations. Maybe we have been doing something in our previous births as well. So this is kind of a cycle which is helping us go more towards the Lord. So maybe we did some part, we climbed a few stairs in our previous birth, and God said that, okay, you've come till here, I'll help you move ahead a little more. So he's kind of holding us and taking us a few more steps ahead, that I'm there with you. So you put some effort, I'm giving you the platform and the opportunities, and you put some more effort. So when the Lord sees, so especially in this, because they say that Lord is actually inclined to everybody, but especially inclined to his devotees. So if he sees even that little spark in somebody, that this person has the potential or he has the thought, God will put extra effort towards that person to say that I'm there with you. I'll give you the helping hand and you come along with me. So wherever he sees the little bit, he puts that extra effort and he's helping us with this. So that is my interpretation. And thank you, Rasvilas Prabhuji. Thank you, Ishan. I think it was so beautifully put what they said. It was so informative. So thank you very much. I have one point on this purport though. So in the last line, they say that Vasudeva is the symbol of transcendental position wherein the appearance of the Supreme Lord takes place. The Supreme Lord has appeared a couple of times. He appears even in Mahabharata in front of Arjuna. He shows his avatar. So over here, they've specifically said Vasudeva is the symbol of transcendental position. Is there a reason this has been mentioned, that Vasudeva is the father, but he's also a symbol of the transcendental position? So can anybody please add some?
So, Vasudeva and Vasudeva. So in Sanskrit, if you put a line, it donates both Vasudeva and Vasudeva, father and son. So that's why. So in Sanskrit, when you put a line on the top, it's become Va. And then if you don't have, it says Va, Vasudeva, Vasudeva. So that's the difference. But Caru Prabhu can speak more about this, of course.
Oh, one is a specific person, the father of Krishna, and the other refers to Krishna being all pervasive. And so Vasudeva or Vasudeva is the symbol of what is the actual he's the symbol of the transcendental position, because he refers to the specific person, the devotee, and he also refers to the Lord in his all-pervasive aspect. In our morning Bhagavatam classes, we just did that verse, Vasadeva para yoga, Varasadeva para gatim, Varasa para veda, Varasa para kriya, Vasadeva para dharma. That Vasudeva is the goal of all knowledge, of all righteousness, of all activities, of all karma, of all yoga, of all study, of all philosophy. Vasudeva is the goal. And the reason they use that Vasudeva is because to follow in the footsteps of Vasudeva, who was so advanced in his service that Krishna agreed to become his son, of course, is the goal of yoga and austerities and penances and everything else as well. But Vasudeva, in his all-pervading aspect, can be compared to electricity. We know electricity is everywhere, but you can't just access it. You have to have a certain technology. You have to have an outlet. And so those who are devoted to Krishna, amongst millions and millions and millions of living beings, a devotee of Krishna is very rare. But if you find a devotee who's serving Krishna after the way of Vasudeva, the father of Krishna, then you can access Krishna, who is all pervasive, through the footsteps of his previous devotees. So that's why Vasudeva, that term, is very, very appropriate. It's symbolic of the transcendental position. And it also explains why us. Tomorrow's Bhagavatam class, the verse has Atma Maya. Atma Maya. In other words, Atma Maya means the Lord's own sweet will. People ask why Krishna is blue. Well, the answer, it's not anything to do with the cause and effect of this world. It's Atma Maya. It's his own sweet will, his own causeless mercy. So we may have done something. The only problem with our having done something good in our past birth is I don't know why, if I did something good in my past birth, why I took birth the way I did in this birth. See what I'm saying? Seems like if I had done something good in my past birth, I would have taken birth in a family of devotees, instead of what I did. But anyway, I think we can ask the question, why us? But the answer may not be us. The answer to why us may be him and his causeless mercy. Maybe we didn't do anything to deserve it. But mercy is not deserved. And that's Atma Maya. That's God, who is beyond cause. He can do things that have nothing to do with cause and effect.
It connects with free will also, Prabhu, right? I mean, and then I can connect with why it is connected with free will. Like as Bhagavad Gita mentioned, the three kind of people who come to, Krishna consciousness or to Lord, those who are in need of something, those who are anxious, stressed out, and a third is, inquisitive, right? So among this group of people, I don't think so we fall with those first two categories, distressed and in need of money. And then it comes to the third one, right? So we all, when we get inquisitive, Lord showers the mercy, and the inquisitiveness comes from our free will, right? Which Lord has given. So as Caru Prabhu said, indirectly it is coming by the Lord's mercy that we are all inquisitive and then inquiring about Krishna, and we are all assembled here on Sunday morning, 11 o'clock.
It may be that we've done something to merit Krishna's mercy, but the best way is to just think that I'm not deserving. I'm not deserving, but Krishna is all merciful, and that's why me.
And Prabhuji, I think apart from that, there are people praying for us. We should not forget that. Srila Prabhupada has prayed for every living entity. Vasudev Ghosh is willing to take everybody's karma. Prahlad Maharaj wants all of us to be delivered. So from disciplic succession to our parents, like to answer Komal's mom is an awesome devotee. How much she must have prayed for you all her life, So those are the blessings that we are reaping today, and we should be grateful every moment of our life to be giving back to those who pray for us, and in return we get to pray for the next generation. So it's not a privilege. It's something that the Lord desired through other devotees to yeah, our spiritual master takes birth again and again to deliver till the last bit of soul. In the war, and a soldier, my dad was in the army, a soldier doesn't leave until the last soldier is out of the battlefield, safe and sound, back home, back to Godhead. So
the devotees, they are Krishna's causeless mercy.
exactly.
They are good. People like Rupa Goswami. Lord Balarama is the original spiritual master, qualifying us, guiding us to go back home, back to Godhead. One time, a devotee asked Prabhupada, what's the meaning of Mahabharat? People are on the path of devotional service, going back to Godhead. They're called Mahabharat. They're greatly fortunate. So someone said, well, how did we become Mahabharat? And Prabhupada said, I made you Mahabharat. Otherwise, you're not. But I made you Mahabharat. In other words, God's causeless mercy in the form of the pure devotee takes us from the bottom to the top. Pavan and Radhe, you want to chip in anything here?
I say this all the time. I think having come to Krishna consciousness was just a blessing. And intelligence played a part in it to latch on to it and become initiated and, do all the things you need to be doing. Right? That's just my comment.
And that type of intelligence to recognize a good thing comes from Balarama, the
Right.
chit potency of the Lord. Hare Sham.
Yeah. Thanks for good comments. So Rupa Goswami also wrote the Upeshamrita, Nectar of Instruction. So the first verse is like, if you can control a sober person who can control the urge to speak, mind demands, the actions of anger, tongue, belly, genitals, qualified to take disciples. So the Prabhupada says this book is for beginners, but when you read first verse, first word, it's Vraja, control your tongue. So it will make you like humble. So I even didn't pass the exam for the beginner. So it's a good job to work whole life. They control everything. And then after that, we go further for Krishna's pastimes. Of course, Prabhupada didn't want we just stand in one verse. He wanted we always read and have perfection, like purifying ourselves, develop Krishna consciousness. And also my question to Charu Prabhu, you told that Krishna doesn't have to come to kill demons because they kill each other.
Kill each other.
So the question is, if the demons threatens life of some devotee, so what is Krishna's actions here? Because devotee will not heal him.
One of Akbar's ministers, actually it was Akbar. He asked his Hindu minister, why does God have to come? Everything is his energies. He's fully in control. When a devotee gets into trouble, what would be the need for God to personally come? Seems like he could just work it out remotely. And the minister didn't say anything, didn't answer at that time. And some time later, a few days or a couple of weeks later, Akbar was walking along the Yamuna River with his young son, just 2-3-year-old son, and some of his top generals and bodyguards. And the little boy lost his footing and slipped, and he fell into the swift-flowing river. So here were younger men, stronger men in the prime of life, surrounding Akbar, the very top athletes and swimmers in his entire kingdom. But he personally jumped in to save the boy. And he didn't think about it. He didn't stop to think, well, maybe one of these other guys would be more qualified, or maybe I'm the king. I don't have to do things personally. I can just order someone else to do it. But he didn't even think in that way. Out of love, he jumped in. And so Krishna says also, I can do anything remotely, but because I love my devotee, I'm not even going to think about saving them remotely. I'm going to jump in and do it myself.
Thank you.
Yeah. Govinda Dave was he was sitting at home last night, and he saw that we were doing the Saturday evening talks at 7 o'clock, no longer remotely. Speaking of remote, now I'm thinking maybe I should follow Krishna or Akbar and come on Saturday nights to give the talk in person. And it was interesting because the first time that I decided to go and give the talk, the whole parking lot was full. I don't know why it happened, but it was certainly a happy coincidence that there was a very substantial crowd there. There was still enough room. I felt it was safe. Everyone had masks and they were a good distance away from each other. But yeah, we're just gonna start, and I'm gonna try to be there every Saturday night. It's still a remote broadcast on Facebook Live, but we're gonna start doing it from Salt Lake City in case people want a person to person. We're not gonna worry about going into the auditorium. I think we'll just do it this way. We're not gonna worry about slides. But anyway, George was at home, and after the talk was over, he just got in his car, came down, and we hung out for a while. Which is why I didn't get back to Spanish Fork until after 11 o'clock at night.
Well, and Caru, you're always so great to make that trip up here. You know, all of us go down there once in a while, and we know that it's a pretty substantial trip. And so I personally am very appreciative that you're willing to do that so regularly. For me, last night, I was just sitting at home. Charlotte was out. And what it was like for me is that here I was watching Caru give this really inspiring lecture, and I said, whoa, he's in our temple, so he's in town. And so I finished what I was doing, and I raced down in my car. And it was when I came into the temple, it was like I was walking into the television set, because that's where I had been watching it on my screen. I said, whoa, now I'm actually in the movie.
It was like Rupa Goswami came to know about Lord, right? And he just immediately ran to meet him. This is exactly what happened yesterday.
You know, I have no idea, and certainly take no credit personally for why I end up being a devotee and having this association and being on this call. If I look back in my life, most of the significant things that have happened have been total accidents. Who I ended up marrying, where I went to school, why I live in Salt Lake City, why I happened to be in Vrindavan and I met devotees there. And I mean, it's all like a bunch of accidents. But here's the thing that maybe, and I'm just tossing this out there. Why are we all on this call on a Sunday morning? Everyone was touched in our heart at some point. And I think what it requires is you have to be honest enough with yourself, giving all of the noise that is taking place in the world, to say, you know, I just really sense that this is the real thing. I think this is really worth pursuing. I think this is really worth sinking my life into. And really what it takes, and Prabhupada says this, I think, you have to be a warrior. You have to be a warrior against Maya to be a devotee. And there is kind of a warrior, I mean, I'm not taking credit for being courage. Whatever courage I have is just whatever Krishna gave me. But there is that minute independence that has us here. We don't have to be here. And I think it's like being honest with what really resonates in your heart, and then having the courage to continue to pursue that, because there are so many forces. You know, after a certain point, you don't really care about that anymore, really. And that's why we're here. I mean, you just get so honestly kind of bored with it all. Want to pursue Krishna consciousness, but I think you know, we're all subject to the frailties of the flesh and so on. I think it takes ongoing willingness to wage the battle against Maya. So that's
fantastic. George, you're showing your Vasudeva aspect. You're appearing in several different windows at once.
Well, I wanted, because I'm down at the office, you see that funny painting behind me. I wanted. Huh?
I was saying he's about to appear in your background in Spanish folk.
You're waving from over my shoulder.
The sound doesn't work on my desktop here at work for some reason on Zoom. I don't know why. It's worked before. So I've got video here and I've got my audio on my phone. That's the reason for the multiple incarnation.
Okay. Well, on the Facebook feed, you're just a black screen with your name on it, which is okay. We'll take the name. I mean, that's what we do. But if you can show yourself during Kirtan, that would be an extra dimension. If not, it's okay. But
you cannot see me on the screen?
Not on Facebook, no. I can see you. I can see you on a small screen. I can see you on the gallery screen in
Here.
Zoom.
Let me try this.
If not, it's the sound vibration is what's important. Whatever.
All right. But now I need to leave off of this screen because I'll create, it would make feedback. I got to get my guitar.
Thank you, everybody, for joining us once again. Okay, here, now we can see you on the Facebook feed. We can't hear you, but we can see you. Yeah, now all the senses are engaged.
This is kind of a calypso-y sound, and I'm not making this up. This tune just came into my head this morning as I was coming into the office, and then I worked it out. But you can decide whether you think this is worth ever doing again. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna,
Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare Krishna.
I was muted and didn't know it. Thank you. Calypso is good. If you like the Calypso, raise your hand. All right. There. Thank you for that wonderful Kirtan. Thanks to Kapilji and his family for the opening Kirtan. Thank you for the wonderful report, Ishan, on Sri Balaramaji and Ras Vilas, on Rupa Goswami. And thank you, Rakesh. Haribo, Ishan.
Thank you, Ruji.
Right. Thanks for that story about Gatokacha's son. Thank you for your very insightful comments, Kamal and Onkar, as well as Sundari Priya and Pavan and Radhesham. Thank you for your association. Did I leave anybody out? I think everybody made a solid contribution.
You left one person yourself. Who's the binding force?
I'm just along for the ride. I'm just hanging to just seeking the dust of all of your lotus feet. So the next 2 weeks, we'll be moving into the appearance day of Lord Krishna. So anybody that wants to share anything the next 2 Sundays that has to do with the appearance of Lord Krishna to get us into the more anticipatory, expectant mood, please feel free. Otherwise, till we meet again, don't forget to chant. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna,
Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama,
Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Vanchakalpatarubhyascha
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, everyone, for your wonderful association.
Thank you. Hari Hari Bol.
Hari
Hari Bol.
Bol.